of chị Kim Anh and Andrew, and thank you so much also for Thầy Frank set the time and share the topic with us today. And let's send the heart and welcome Thầy Frank to start the session this morning. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Yeah.
All right, I'm grateful, Ko Hoài Mi, for the introduction. If those of you who don't know me, my name is Frank, and I've been studying the philosophy on health and wellness for a number of years now, going on to maybe 3 years. I have taken upon myself to share the philosophy back into the English language. Now, I study in the Vietnamese language, and I'm taking it upon myself to share it in the English language. And I'm restarting a new season, starting from the beginning, with the intention of helping not only new people get to understand the philosophy and experience a transformed life, but also to provide as much of the detail as possible for those who are studying the mentor level class. Okay, people who want to be inner being coaches and trainers, people who want to share this back to other people in the English language. Okay, so the philosophy has a methodology that includes imprinting, meaning you just listen and you just write, or you just absorb the information without judgment, without critical thinking, and that enables a person to really maximize their learning. Okay, and there has not been as many English courses taught, and so the mentors are learning, and I feel like we should take a point of ourselves to teach it back in English, and I will follow closely the actual teaching of our master. Okay, so today, instead of sharing it from my own knowledge, I'm going to be listening to the Vietnamese version as spoken by the master himself, and I will try to translate line by line so that we will catch 100% of what he's saying, that we don't miss out on anything. Okay, that way for those of you who are studying the mentor, for example, Ji Hằng, I see the background; those are the mentor 7. You should take note. You should draw and pay attention to the way the language is used, so that you can teach it back to other people. Okay. Um, Does anything with Chị Hằng or Chị Oanh, Cô Hoài Mi, before we get started, would you like to sort of just say a few things for the sake of people in the Zoom as well as other people who are reviewing this Zoom later on recording? Would you care to share some of your own transformation or what benefit you have acquired or gained out of learning the philosophy that we are about to teach? Does anybody want to give it a try?
So chị Thu Hằng still have something to say. Chị Thu Hằng, chị Kim Anh, and Andrew. Yeah. Chắc mời chị Thu Hằng ha. Yeah.
Hello thầy Frank. Thank you cô Hoài Mi. When I know you, thank you so much thầy Frank.
Recording in progress.
For the room, I appreciate so much your time and what you do. I have attended for twice, and I feel quite easy to understand the way you share. So what I want to learn how to to understand about to get more knowledge and to understand how to share information. So most of the thing is the knowledge that I learned and I gained from your lesson. So I appreciate that very much. So I keep learning and watching and enjoy my time. Thank you so much, thầy Frank.
Okay, alrighty. Thank you so much for that. I'm grateful you guys have taken the time to join the Zoom. Okay, your time is precious, and giving me your time is a source of motivation. Okay, I am touched. I am moved by the fact that you have honored me with your presence in this Zoom today. Okay, so we're gonna start with word by word, line by line, what Master Tuan said to us in K36. Okay, K36 was intended for the mentors to imprint, and so here you go. Okay, just give me a second to run this video here. So I'm gonna be
Yeah.
playing it while
Yeah, we are very grateful for the dedications and all of the contribution from Thai Frank. Yeah. Yeah. Good morning, Cô Phương Mỹ.
if
Good
my
morning, cô
voice is
An.
a little bit difficult to hear, just let me know. I have a bit of a cold, so sometimes it comes out not so clear. Okay, so let me know if you have trouble hearing me today. Okay.
Yeah, I hear it's very clear. Thai
Okay.
Frank, it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So Master Tuan is saying, we are grateful for your presence today. This is
Can we share the screen of Thai Toàn so everybody could see?
it's all in Vietnamese, so there's no point. I'm just playing it from the. Hang on, It's on a different computer. I can't share it.
Oh.
Okay, but
All
just
right.
listen to me, okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a session to help the mentor imprint. Okay. We are going to write the name of this journey. Okay, this is a journey that we are on together. Okay, we call it a journey or a pathway. Let's use the word pathway. Okay, this is a pathway to expand. Okay, our inner awareness. Okay, this is how we introduce the course. Because this is a pathway, it has a roadmap. Okay. We request that you try to participate in all the steps of the way. Each subsequent day is built upon the previous day, and then subsequent day is built upon day, and so it is a step-by-step process. Okay? The course is called Comprehending Our Inner Being in order to create peace and joy. Traditionally, it was taught in a 21-day basis. Okay, and so you ask, okay, what will we get out of this 21-day course? In this pathway, this roadmap, what values are we going to get out of it? You're going to get out of it in a little bit when we share it with you. You will understand the meaning of the pathway. Okay, so you can help us by maintaining a certain mentality with respect to studying. Okay, there is a certain mentality and attitude with respect to the way you're studying. We can say that even if you fall asleep, you would still transform. Would you believe it? Would you believe that if you fall asleep, you can still transform? Yeah. So the class is designed so that even if you fall asleep, you will still transform. Okay? If any of you have ever taken part in any of the previous classes, you will have known. But it is a state of studying that involves relaxed and enjoyment. Maybe you have been introduced by friends to join the course. Some of you have been pressured to join by your loved ones. Other people may be bribed by the parents or the children to attend the course. But if we have already listened to our loved ones to be present, then just totally relax. Of course, if it is possible, you want to write and take note. Okay, if it is not possible to write and take note, and just listen. If you fall asleep, then just keep the Zoom open so that you can hear while you're sleeping. Okay, and so by participating in this course with the mentality of total enjoyment, total relaxation, it'll be best for you. Okay? And so when we usually talk to participants, that even with sleep you will transform. Okay, that is a promise. It is a promise uh, that each of us as individual who has gone through this program, we have received for ourselves. Okay, we are committed. When we are committed to the program, the course, so this course, when it is taught in the Vietnamese version, there are thousands of people. It could go up to like 2,000 people. But here, we only have a handful of people. That's fine. Okay. The program itself has been taught for about 11 years now. Okay, by now about 12 years. Sometimes little children of 6 or 7 year old, they may come into the classroom. They don't actually actively participate. They just play around. They fall asleep, lie around. But when they come home, they remember everything that is taught in class, and they have a real transformation that the parent can see. And through many years, we discovered that this pathway is not only reserved for older, mature adults, but it can be appropriate for children as well. Meaning it is now appropriate for everyone, so that they can fully understand the inner being. So with this pathway, just enjoy yourself, okay? And so the idea is to enjoy the studying. So in the next 21 sessions, what you want to do is adopt this mentality of enjoyment. Okay, so enjoy studying. If you're not familiar with this style of learning, that's fine too. Okay, if you're not familiar with this process, and you think 21 session, that feels kind of long, especially since I'm only doing this once a week. Okay, it takes me 21 weeks. That's half a year. That being said, if time will fly very, very quickly. Okay, time fly very quickly if you adopt the mentality of enjoyment. Okay, later on we will learn about the value and the sense of time, but you will understand why. But time can go by very quickly if you adopt the mentality of enjoyment. Any age, any peer group, you can experience the transformation. Okay, so at the beginning, usually we start a class with people interacting. Okay. When it comes to the knowledge of humanity, okay, knowledge of humanity, the wise ones have simplified it by dividing the knowledge of humanity into three distinct categories. One of the category is called the worldly matter, knowledge of worldly matter. This pen is dead. Let me get a new pen. So knowledge of humanity can be divided into three categories. The worldly matters, or from knowledge from the perspective of worldly matters. Knowledge of humanity can be divided into cosmological perspective. And then there is a perspective of human life. So as we go through school, we study mostly worldly matter, right? We go to school, elementary school, high school, even college, and then after that we study, we acquire knowledge in the form of worldly matter, help us deal with the world that we live in. There are those of us who have a religion. Religion gives us perspective on the cosmology. Okay, um, we call it cosmology, where everything is made, why we are here, where we're going. Okay, that is what religion and faith give us knowledge of the cosmology. And then there is the perspective relating to human life and experience. Okay, human life and experience, that is one of the perspective that we are going to be approaching. So with this pathway, we are going to study about understanding our inner being in order to create peace and joy, and that is a focus on human life and experience. Okay, so any question relating to uh, human life and experience, we will try to explore, go in depth. Any question relating to worldly matters or cosmological issues, we will not pay too much attention to that, okay? Because we have experts in those fields already. Okay, here we're going to focus on human life and experience. So this pathway of elevating our inner awareness is going to be focused on human life and human experience. Okay, so we can fully comprehend what it means to be a human being. So so if we study and we have the desire to understand human life and experience, you're going to experience this special methodology that will help us fully comprehend human life, human experience, human development. Okay, so to begin our journey together, you can help me by drawing along. Okay, you're going to draw along. Okay, we're going to draw, and then you can label it. We're going to draw a boat. Okay, you can help me draw a boat. After you draw, you can just label it, and people will know right away that you're drawing a boat. Okay, just write down a word, boat. This is a Vietnamese boat, since this philosophy comes from the country of Vietnam. Okay. Okay. Draw a boat for me. This entire journey that we're on together, every idea and concept that we are going to talk about in this pathway is going to be built upon this simple picture here. Okay, the picture of a boat. Okay. So you draw a boat for me. Okay, you take some time, you can make the boat a little prettier. There's a good reason why we are spending time drawing and painting a picture. Okay, you will later learn the importance of a clear mental image. Okay, so we have a boat, and we want, so this boat we want to go from point A to point B. From point A to point B. the water current, there are two scenarios. Okay, two scenarios. This is the current. This current aligns with the direction that we want to go. Okay, we could say this, the align with. And then there is another scenario where the water current is against. If we have a boat that we want to go from point A to point B, and if the current aligns with where we want to go from A to B, then can you imagine that even with a person rowing along the line of the current, or if we have a motor, that you can imagine the boat will be able to go from A to B very quickly, right? Even if we stop rowing, even if we stop the engine, the boat can still float from A to B very simply, because all it has to do is to align it with the current. But if the current is against, it's the other way, the other direction, and if we have nobody rowing, and we have no motor applying, then we're not going to be able to get to the destination, right? If there's no effort, if there's no motor, then we can get there. If we have effort, a person rowing and a motor, then we can get to the destination that we want. See, the wise have taught us that a person's life, out of 100 people in life, already 99 people in life, they want anything out of life, they have to put a lot of effort into getting it. And so anybody who ever stopped making the effort, stop investing in the resources, stop trying, then their life will get worse. They lose all the effort. And so we borrow this image so that when we are rowing on the boat of life, if our boat of life is going against the current, then if we're rowing against the current, we can still get there. But we spend a lot of effort. And if it seems hard, if it seems that we have to put in a lot of effort, if it seems that we have to invest a lot of resource, then maybe we are actually rowing against the current. While we can get to the destination we want, we have to pay the price with those efforts. Pay the price of the effort and the resources. So what is the current? Okay, what is the current? It turns out that the current are the principles and laws. Principles and laws are the things that govern our life. If we can wisely align ourselves with the principles, universal principles and natural laws, then our life will be at ease. We can reach our destination very simply. But if we go against principles and laws, then we can still get to where we want, but we have to pay the price with effort, with time, with resources. And if we stop making the effort, we go backward, right? So the first picture that we want to give to you is that we should live in alignment with principles and laws so that we would reach our destination, whatever it is that we desire, in a simple, desirable way. Okay, so in the pathway, the 21-day session, there is no greater words for the next 21 day is this one word. It is transformation. So this is a pathway with a roadmap that aims to help us transform from the inside out. So with the inner awareness that as a human being, we all are sitting inside a shell. Okay, this shell, how deep or how thick this shell is dependent on the person. We're all different. However, we're all sitting inside a shell. Excuse me. This shell is called the self-limiting awareness or self-limitation. Okay, self-limiting awareness or self-limitation. One of the self-limitation that we all have as a human being is self-trivialization. What does that mean? Meaning we think of ourselves as trivial. We don't think of ourselves as anybody special. We cannot do this or we cannot do that. We give ourselves a limit. Okay? These are called limiting self-awareness. Or you can say self-awareness that are limiting ourselves. Okay, limiting self-awareness. And these self-limiting awareness are one of the barriers, one of the shell that is covering us. Okay, they are the shell that are covering us. Maybe we have other limitation as well. How about fear of failure is one of the limitations that is preventing us from doing anything different. Fear of failure is another one of the shell that is preventing us from getting outside of our comfort zone. Everything we're afraid. Okay. The fear of failure prevents us from taking steps. We don't take steps, and so we don't change, and we don't get better. It limits our development as a human being. Okay, fear of failure. Another one is fear of criticism and judgment. Do you see this one as a big one? In this society, day and age, is the fear of criticism and judgment a big barrier to development? This is a big barrier, especially fear of criticism by people close to us. Judgment and criticism from our friends and families. Right? People who love us, are close to us, if they say this or they say that, for some people it is our spouse, other people our children or our parent, and it makes us, we're afraid that people will criticize us, or if society say anything with us. So that is one of the barrier that is preventing us from growing and changing. So it is one of the barriers, okay, that is covering us. What about lack of condition? Lack of condition. Lack of time. Lack of okay, because we feel that it's not enough condition. We don't make the effort. Okay, we wait around for the right condition, and the right condition never come around, so we never initiate anything. And then another one is lack of knowledge. Can you see this yellow one? Yeah, you can see the yellow one. Okay. Okay. And finally, a big one that is preventing us from breaking out of the barrier is the lack of future vision. We don't see where we're gonna go, and so we are limited by the lack of future vision. We don't do anything that will head us into any direction, and so these barriers is preventing us from breaking out of our barrier, preventing us from breaking out. So you can see if this shell is represent the shell of an egg. Okay, some of you have seen the trailer I made. This shell is like a shell of an egg. If the shell is broken from the outside in, external pressure, then the egg becomes food. But if we can break out from inside out, then that is a new life. And so that is a principle that we're going to talk about, and we're going to apply that in this whole pathway. It is the principle of transformation. It is about changing from the inside out. Because if we wait around for external pressure to break our shell, to force us to change, do you notice, so kind of take a look at yourself, right? Do you notice that it is usually external pressure, external circumstances that force us to change? If some pain or suffering doesn't force us to change, we wait for bigger pain and suffering, bigger suffering forcing to change. If bigger pain and suffering is not big enough to force us to change, then even bigger, bigger pain and suffering force us to change. And if pain and suffering isn't enough to force us to change, then it is usually some kind of loss that forces us to change. And if small loss is not enough to make us change, then we wait around for huge, big losses to force us to change. And so as a human being, we go through life waiting for our shell to be broken from the outside before we change. And so instead of waiting around for pain and losses to change, then the wise one has suggested that why not out of love that we change ourselves? Why not out of love initiate change from within? Desire to develop ourselves to become a better person, a more mature person. Desire and love for our family, our relatives, that we initiate change from within. That we break out of these limiting self-awareness. We essentially erase these these barriers, right? An egg that is impacted from the outside becomes food, but an egg that breaks out from the inside is a new life. And this transformation comes from the desire, a deep desire for transformation. And the energy is the energy of love for ourselves, for our family, for our organization, for the world, that we will initiate change from within. And through this process, we become a bigger and better person. Okay, become a bigger person. Okay, big arms, big leg. Okay, big eyes. Maybe some hair and feather. Okay. So instead of waiting for pain and suffering to force us to change, then why not, out of love, initiate change from within? Okay. So this program is built upon the foundation that you change your self-awareness about yourself. Expand your self-awareness so that you can erase these limitations, and from erasing these limitation, that you will experience a transformation to become a person who is bigger and better person, a more mature person. It is a roadmap, a pathway for a person to become a bigger and better person. Okay, and so basically this pathway, this program is about removing these barriers to self-limiting awareness. Okay, this is a pathway to erasing the limiting self-awareness so that we can become a bigger and better person. Okay, out of love, initiate change from within. Out of love for ourselves, for our family, for our organization and the society, we initiate change from within. Okay. So we are listening to. I am listening to the Vietnamese recording of K36. Okay, there's about 2,000 people in the Zoom that was being taught, and so imagine a rocket ship. Okay, imagine a rocket ship that is trying to fly out into space, but there are 6 chains holding down the rocket ship, and so it cannot fly out in space. It's already got the engine, the fire is already burning, but the moment that we cut all of those chains, then guess what? The rocket ship can fly out into space. It goes very fast. It can go very far. Yeah, so if we can cut those 6 chains, then as a rocket ship ourselves, we have a lot of potential. We have a lot of energy. There's fire within us. It can go very far and it can go very fast. Okay, but with those chains holding us back, these chains holding us back, no matter what, we cannot do it. Many people have tried to find many ways to change their life, but fortunately for us, we have the expert to teach us that if we can erase these 6 barriers, these 6 self-limitations, then those 6 chains will be cut. We will experience a transformation that is unlimited. Okay, what would it look like when we have a future vision, that we can see that everything we have, the condition, all the knowledge that we have is available for us? What would our life be like if we had no fear of failure? What would our life be like if we have no fear of criticism or judgment? What will our life be like if we have future vision and we have no self-trivialization? That kind of life is a life where we can develop unlimitedly. Okay? We have unlimited potential. So we have researched from the knowledge of many experts and wise people, and so we have put together a program that will help us remove these 6 barriers, that we can fully comprehend our inner being, fully comprehend the pathway, and we do it by aligning ourselves with principles and laws. Already the first principle we're learning is a principle of transformation. Align with transformation, not out of pain and suffering, but out of love for ourselves. Okay? So you can write that statement down. Instead of waiting for pain and suffering to force us to change, let us transform by initiating the breakthrough from inside out. Instead of waiting for pain and suffering to force us to change, why not, out of love, initiate transformation from within? When a person experiences the love of another person, then they usually have a great transformation. And so with this is the way we are going, okay? And we do it by aligning ourselves with principles and laws. We will discover what those principles and laws are. Myself, I feel the love, for example, from my wife, my parents, my children, and it is that love that set me on this path toward learning and transformation. Love for ourselves if you don't have other people. So it is through love that we will transform, not transformation, not pain and suffering. Okay, that's the idea of the program that we're on today. Okay, so you can congratulate yourself. Okay, you can give yourself a hand of applause to congratulate yourself for having taken the first step out of love for yourself to um, to taking part in a program that will cause you to be transformed and to develop into a kind of person that has no limitation. Okay, so this is the beginning. So one of the principles, since we are going to align ourselves with principles and laws in order to get to where we want without expending too much effort. So one of the principles and laws that we are going to apply or align ourselves with, it's called the principle of light. Okay, we're going to explore the principle of light, and this principle of light is something that we will apply all throughout the entire process that will help guide our transformation. It is the principle of light. Okay. Principle of light. You can help me draw a picture. You can draw a rectangle. Okay, rectangle. This rectangle represents a dark room. So you're going to write down dark room. Some of you are studying here. Some people, especially this is for the message for the mentors, some people in the Zoom may have difficulty seeing. So when we speak as a mentor who are teaching and sharing the knowledge, you want to speak using language that can visualize. Okay? So for example, we say, draw for me a rectangle. Okay? Representing a dark room. So that word, that phrase, it has visual, it has an imagery. Okay? So you want to speak language of imagery. So when we think about light and darkness, though they have a duality, right? Wherever there is light, there is no darkness. Right? Wherever there's light, there's no darkness. Wherever there is not darkness, then not enough light. Okay? Because light and darkness are it has a principle of duality. They are opposite. Wherever there is light, there is no darkness, and wherever there is not darkness, then light has disappeared. So let's say we have this dark room, and we want this dark room to be brightened up. Okay, if we want to brighten up the room. Then in theory, we can say that if somehow we can remove the darkness, if we can somehow remove the darkness, in theory, then the room will brighten up, right? In theory, because it is a duality. And secondly, there's a scenario is that instead of removing the darkness, we would bring light in. Bring light in. And so, two possible scenarios. Okay, if we want this room to brighten up, according to the principle of light, then all we got to do is bring the light in. Then the room would brighten up. It's very simple. More simple than removing the darkness. Even though in theory, the duality says that wherever there's no darkness, there is light. But in reality, all we have to do is bring light into the room and the dark room will brighten up. The darkness will just dissipate. Do you guys get that? Yeah. We all have this awareness, right? We all have, even a 3-year-old child have this awareness. They get that when they go into a dark room, they would look for a switch and they turn on a switch and the light will come flooding in. I have a young child. When he first learned to walk, he knows how to crawl toward a light switch, and he flipped the switch, and he knows how to bring light into the room. Okay, and so the best solution is to bring light into the room. That is the simplest solution for wanting to brighten up a dark room. It's so simple. It is so simple because it is principle of light. But this is an important understanding in a worldly perspective. Okay? In a worldly perspective, right? Worldly matter, light and darkness and the light switch. But when it comes to human life and experience, do we actually understand the principle of light? Do we as human beings actually understand the principle of light in the perspective of human life and experience? And so we need to share with you the following. You can draw a house for me. Okay, on the bottom of the house, you write the word inner being. On the left side, you write the word health. On the right side, you write relationship. On the top, you write the word finances. Okay, these are 4 areas of human life and experience. The areas of inner being, the areas of our health, the areas of our relationship, the areas of our finances, or you can call it dimension. As a human being, we have the dimension of our inner being, as the dimension of our health, the dimension of our relationship, and the dimension of finances. As a human being living in this world, this life, if we can take ownership of our inner being, if we can take ownership and mastery of our health, ownership of our relationship, and mastery of our finances, then we have essentially taken full and complete mastery of our whole life. This is an important knowledge that we need to grasp. Human life, everybody wants, in general, they want to have an ownership of some business. But how many people actually truly desire to take ownership of their entire life? All areas of life, including our health, our relationship, and our finances. See, wise ones have showed us that our inner being, our health, our relationship, and our finances are 4 key dimensions of a human life and experience. If anybody who can take ownership of their inner being, ownership of their health, and ownership of their relationship and their finances, then that person has simply taken full and complete ownership of their whole life. In other words, if we can master our being, our inner being, if we can master our health, master our relationship, and master our finances, then we have taken full and complete mastery of our entire human life and experience. Okay? So, okay. Waiting for the master to continue talking. Okay, so we are going to repeat. This is so important. Okay? If we want to take full and complete ownership of our life, our master at a young age, he just had this idea this desire, even as early as grade 3. He wanted to take ownership of his life. On grade 3, he failed. He failed grade 3, and he was punished for it. Okay, his mother punished him for it. We don't know how, but he says that he's told his mother that, Mom, if I do anything, then from now on, for the rest of my life, you do not get to interfere with my study. Okay, this is a child at grade 3 telling his mother that you do not get to interfere with my studying. Thinking back, he's not sure how he got the courage to say those things. But his mother said, doesn't matter as long as you bring in the progress report and it is adequate, and that's fine. And so he said, fine, I can do that, but you don't interfere with my life. And that's all he does. Every at the end of every year, he will bring in the progress report, and as long as it is adequate, and it's fine. And he does not want anybody to control his life. Earlier on, he thought it was just about not wanting other people to control his life. But later on, he understood that that came from a deep desire to be the owner of one's life. In that point, he was fortunate to find a wise person to show him that if we can become an owner and master of our inner being, take mastery and ownership of our health and beauty, take ownership of our relationship, family relationship, social relationship, and take ownership of the finances, then these 4 areas, if you can master those 4 areas in our life, then we can completely master our whole life. Because previously, human being, we feel like life has so many problems, right? Do you notice that? We feel like life is so complicated, so many problems. But it turns out that it is actually very simple. If our inner being is in trouble, then it will impact our relationship. If our inner being, for example, is resentful and blaming, or if we are suffering, right? If we're angry, do you think that will affect our health? Yeah, our inner being will affect our health. And importantly, if our inner being has a great impact on our finances, okay, our inner being greatly impact our finance. But this interaction, this relationship is not just one way. It could be from the health. If we take the health as a foundation, then the health of a person will impact their inner being. If a person who is sick, it's going to affect their inner being. A person's health is going to affect their relationship. For example, their ability to love other people. If you're sick and you're not healthy, how are you going to provide for the loved ones? If anybody ever play with their children and you want to love them, you want to spend time with them, but some people don't have the health to play with their children, right? And if you want to love their children, some mother do not have enough health to take care of their children. Then so our health is going to affect our relationship. And of course, if our health is poor, then we are not going to be able to make money. It's going to affect our finances. If we have enough health and time, then anybody could accumulate a lot of riches, right? If we have enough health and time, we're going to accumulate a lot of riches, and so our health relates to our finance. If we take the relationship between human beings as the foundation, then the relationship also interfere with our inner being. In our interaction with other people, whether we are sad or happy, a lot of that is determined by our relationship. And of course, a person who has a lot of good relationship is going to be able to make a lot of money, right? It is through their relationship that they will have the opportunity to do business and make a lot of money. And of course, relationship affect our health as well. It is said that where we put our time and effort when we were young, we're gonna find that our health is gonna follow in that same pathway when we are older. And so when we look at people who are older, who have a lot of good health, it is because they also have a lot of good relationship. A person who become older, some of the greatest pain is not having people around them. It is the loneliness of a person in old age that will greatly affect their health. And of course, our finances also interfere with our relationship. Okay, if we have a lot of finances, then we can take care of our family. We can give to charity. We can bring in a lot of friends. Having economic means can build relationship. Okay, and of course, we have good finances. It is simple to become healthy. Right? We can buy good food. We can buy exercise machine. We can buy nutrition. And of course, if the finances are good, then our inner being would be okay too. Right? With the past COVID, the rich people tend to have it easier than people who are poor. So now you can see that these 4 dimensions of life are interrelated. Life only looks complicated because they are interrelated, and we don't know that these exist. But once we understand that there are these 4 dimensions, we can simplify it. Right? The foundation of this house is our inner being. Okay? And the pillars of the house is the relationship and the health. And the roof is the finances. And so when we experience a problem, any problem that we find in life, it's usually one of these 4 areas, and it will impact other areas as well. As a human being living in this life, we feel that life can be complicated, but it is not complicated. It is only 4 areas of inner being: our health, our relationship, and our finance. If we run into a problem, all we gotta do is stop and take a look. Is it my inner being that's in trouble? Is it my health? Is it my relationship? Or is it my finances? And here is the mistake that human beings we tend to make. Do we usually try to solve the problem? Do we try to fix the problems of our life? Whenever we have a problem, we try to fix the problem. When we run into some trouble, we try to fix the trouble. Do we not do that as a human being? Okay, so let's take a look at our awareness. The awareness is that whenever we encounter a problem in our life, whenever we experience a problem, we take all of our effort in order to try to fix the problem. If we try to fix the problem, then guess what? I'm going to say that you have gone against principles. What would you think? Because the principle of light says that the best way to brighten up the room is to bring in the light. Removing the darkness doesn't work. All we have to do is bring the light in, then the darkness will go away. But you can try to remove the darkness, but in reality it doesn't work. In reality, we cannot remove the darkness in the room. Yet, as a human being, we do that all the time. If the problems of our life is represented by the darkness in the room, then trying to fix the problems of our life equates to trying to remove the darkness from the room. We try to do that all the time. We try to fix the problem, which equates to trying to remove the darkness from the room. And while we think it may work, it actually doesn't work. Okay? If we try to fix the problems of our life, it equates to trying to remove the darkness from the room. And that is why we continue to experience the darkness in our life. we remove the darkness from one area of life, then we have darkness in other areas of life. We try to remove the darkness of our health, we experience darkness in our relationship. We try to remove the darkness of relationship, we experience darkness in our finances. And so all our life, we spend time trying to remove the darkness by fixing the problem of life, and it doesn't work. That's why our life never quite change. It's the same. And so that's why in this pathway, the wise one have taught us that that if we learn how to align ourselves with principles and laws, and in this case, the principle is a principle of light. You bring in the light into the room. Okay, so we can help me draw the next picture. This next picture or diagram is a picture that is worth remembering for the rest of our life. This is important. You can help me draw the house again. Okay. The foundation of this house is still the same, inner being. The two columns or walls, we still write those words, health. And on the right side, relationship. And on top, finances. Still same house. Inside this house, we're going to draw a hexagon. Okay, draw a hexagon in the middle, and then we connect the corners with the walls. Inside here, we're gonna write some words that represent the light in the house. Because we've already agreed that removing the darkness from the room does not make the room brighten up. The best way to brighten up the house of our life is to bring in light. And the followings are the light that we're gonna write. So go ahead and write the word wisdom on the bottom one. On the left one, write mentality. Over here, you write character on the right side. On the upper right, we write competency. So this competency. On the upper left, you write physicality. Top one is material. And in the middle, you write the word virtue. So the meaning of this picture is that instead of trying to fix the problem of our inner being, instead of fixing the problem of our health, instead of fixing the problem of our relationship or fixing the problem of our finances, problems are like the darkness. Instead of fixing the problem, instead of removing the darkness, we brighten up the house by lighting up a bunch of candles. If you want, you can draw a picture of a candle. The candle of our wisdom, the candle of our mentality, the candle of our character, the candle of our physicality, the candle of our material well-being, and the candle of our virtue. So instead of trying to fix the problem, we need to brighten up the room by enriching. Okay? The key word you want to use is to enrich. Enrich our wisdom, enrich our mentality, enrich our character, enrich our competency, our physicality, enrich our material well-being, and enrich our virtue. Instead of fixing the problem, let us enrich. Okay, enrich. You notice in the health, mentality goes into mental health, physicality goes to physical health. You notice that character and competency will relate to our relationship with other people. And in the middle, virtue is the quality that will put everything together. Okay? So here, we're going to write these are the 7 holistic wealth.
Okay.
Okay. Let me show you how these 7 candles are also known as the 7 holistic wealth. Okay. Normally, when a person think about richness or wealth, right? When we think about somebody who's wealthy or rich, it not the material. When it comes to human life and experience, material is like money, property, anything that has monetary value. Those are material. From a worldly perspective, anything that is material or matter can be touched or feel. But when it comes to human life and experience, a person who has material wealth is a person who has a lot of money, right? A person who has a lot of material wealth, can we consider them to be wealthy? Right? If they have a lot of material wealth, they are wealthy. They're rich. Some people use money to define wealth. And so this is a person who is materially wealthy. But if the person also have a rich physicality, then they're really rich. Okay? If the physical health is good, then we consider them also to be a person of richness, of wealth. They have the wealth of money, they have the wealth of health. Right? Physical health. Then the wealth of a person can be elevated. If a person has material wealth but they have no health, then they're gonna feel life doesn't have any meaning. Have we met really materially rich people who have no health? Then their wealth, they can't really do much with their wealth. But if you have the physical health that good, that you can use to enjoy the material wealth, then it will be more meaningful. Some people will inherit an inheritance from their family, for example. They may acquire an inheritance of money from their parent, but if they don't have the competency to maintain their material wealth, then they cannot maintain their wealth. So if a person come into money and they don't have the competency to keep the money, then they're not going to be very rich in an enduring way. So a person needs to be rich in competency. And so some parents give their children a very simple awareness. If our children is better than us, then we can give them an inheritance so that they know what to do with it. But if our children is not as good as our parent, then why should we give them our inheritance? Okay? Do you get that? If a child is better than the parent, then maybe we can give them an inheritance so they would know what to do with it. But if a child is not as good as the parent, why give them an inheritance at all if they don't know what to do with it? And so richness or wealth encompass the material possession, the physical health, as well as the competency to make do with what we can do with the money that you have. If a child is smarter than the parent, then they would know what to do with the money. But if the child is not as good as a parent, that they don't know what the money, they will eventually lose it. Okay? And so, as a human being, they start to that if a meaning we have to have material wealth, we have to have physical health, we have to have the competency, then we can say that that is a person who truly is wealthy. Right? So it is an awareness of society having a more broader, expansive understanding of what it means to be wealthy. If a person who has material wealth, they have good health, but if they cannot create value for other people, then what's the point of being rich? And so, what's the point of being rich if we do not have virtues? Okay, if you have money, if you have health, if you know how to make money, if you know how to keep money, but if you not can help other people, then what's the point of being rich? And so virtue becomes an important element in defining what it means for a person to be truly wealthy. How to use money to help humanity. Does a person have propriety? Do they have their love for humanity? Do they have trustworthiness? Do they have authenticity? Do they have a sense of accountability to society? And so a person who is rich in virtue, combining with the competency, combining with physical health, and combining with material wealth, that makes a person truly rich. But if
Cái này nó
what if a
không bây giờ
person
mình mới bỏ vô bên
but what if a person at the end of their life they not have a lot of people around them? They may have created values for other people, but if they don't have a lot of value, if they have created a lot of value for people, but if they don't have a lot of people with them, especially near the end of their life, they're all isolated and alone, then it calls into question whether they are truly rich. And so, in order to be truly rich, you need to have character. Because character, a person of rich character is a person who other people like to be close to. A truly successful people is a person who has a great character that other people want to be close to them. Because you may become successful and you may become successful, but other people don't like you, then you will become isolated. You may experience loneliness at the end of your life. Okay, and through time, we may have a lot of friends. Okay, maybe you have a good character. You can help a lot of people. We have good health. We have a lot of material wealth. But if their inner being is not at peace, if they're not happy, if they do not have the mentality of inner peace, if they're not tolerant of people, if they are not grateful, then their richness does not bring them true happiness. And so, not only should be rich in material, physical health, competency or virtue or character, but we also have to be rich in mentality. So through time, from material to physical to competency, virtue, character, and mentality, a person who is rich in mentality, if they truly want to be rich, then they have to be able to maintain their wisdom, to be rich in wisdom. A person who is rich in wisdom is a person who is truly, truly rich. Bố đang chia sẻ cho con đi xuống nha. Okay.
Mấy giờ bố xong?
9-10 giờ vậy đó. Okay, so now we see these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 candles of holistic wealth. It begins with an old understanding of what it means to be rich, materially rich. If a person is truly rich, they have to have the physical health. They have to have competency, they have to have virtue, they have to have a good character, they have to be rich in mentality and rich in wisdom. If a person have all of these 7 riches, then we call them a person of holistic wealth. Okay? If you notice, we're going to divide the these top ones are the non-material aspect. Okay, non-material. These are the material. Material, anything that is matter, can be measured, can be feel, can be touched. Okay, can be measured. These top ones, wisdom, mentality, character, virtue, these are the non-material dimension of a human being. The competency, the physicality, and the material are the material aspect of a human being. And so what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to brighten up the house. Okay? If we use the darkness to represent the problems of our life, if the darkness represents the problems of our life, human life and experience, okay, then the 7 holistic wealth are the light that will brighten up our life, that will help us drive away the problems of life. Okay, for example, wisdom, mentality, character, virtue, competency, physicality, and material are the light that will drive away the darkness that is in our life. Okay, do you get that? Instead of fixing the problems of life, we are going to brighten up the house of our life by bringing light into the house. So we are going to begin reorienting ourselves by becoming holistically rich, holistic wealth. Okay, we're going to explain the difference between the non-material and the material aspects of our life, so that we can know how to use it So we are going to write down the concept of non-material and material. Once we understand these 2 concepts, then we will understand more fully why we need to have the 7 holistic wealth, so that we can brighten up the house of our life. Okay. We're going to write the word non-material and the word material, and then we are going to draw an arrow, and we write the word IZE. So what we're doing is that we are materializing the non-material, and we are non-materializing the material aspect of our life. Non-materialize and materialize. The word IZE meaning to turn something into. Okay. This is a process by which we will materialize the non-material aspect of our life, and we non-materialize the material aspect of our life, of our being. Okay? So let me ask you, has anybody here ever kept an object of sentimental value for many years and we still have it? Does anybody have an object of sentimental value that many years, maybe even decades, and we still have it? Maybe a watch from a loved one, an old T-shirt, we still keep it. There are material objects. There are material objects that when we take and we sell it for monetary value, we give it to somebody. then in terms of pricing, there's not a lot of it doesn't have a lot of worth. There's not a lot of value in the material worth of an object, right? If we sell an old watch, for example, we're not going to make a lot of money of that. But the value, due to the sentimental value, due to the emotional context, the non-material, the invisible dimension of that object, we may keep it for the rest of our life. Do you get that? So there are certain material objects that has a non-material dimension to them, the invisible aspect of an object. Whereas the material aspect of an object may not be worth very much, but the non-material aspect of an object may have very deep and great sentiment value for us. So you may have an article of clothing that it maybe an old T-shirt that we really care about. You may wear it for many years. As far as the material worth of it, you can't even sell it. But we keep it around because it has a non-material value. In terms of pricing, the monetary pricing, it doesn't have much. But from the sentimental value, the feelings, then according to us, then in general, what we have done is we have non-materialized that material object. And so it has a lot of value to us. We have non-materialized a material object. And so in society, how have they done it? Okay, in society, have anybody here heard that there is a certain purse, right? A purse that could cost tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for a single purse. Its edition is very limited. Only a small number of people in the world who had a chance to possess that purse. Right? Have anybody of you known about that? Right? It could be a purse, could be a shoes, maybe some car, limited edition. In terms of value, in terms of material value, it's the same as any other purse. In terms of value, it's the same. A shoe would be the same as other shoe. A car may be the same as other car. If we separate the non-material from the material, then the material worth of an object, there are objects that maybe even made in Vietnam, for example. Okay, it does not cost much, maybe a few dozen, maybe a few $100. Yet when it is sold into the world market, it can rise up to tens of thousands. A single pair of shoes, maybe made in Vietnam, for example, it has a certain amount of dollars associated with it. But society has a way of turning a pair of shoes into an object of great value. Same thing with clothing, right? So many objects can be created. It may be created with a certain set amount of monetary value, but when it's attached to certain non-material dimension, for example, limited edition, or a certain brand associated with a brand to it, then it takes on a non-material dimension. Okay, so those material objects, when it has a non-material dimension to it, it can elevate the price of an object. A piece of vegetable, a fruit. If, for example, we can plant a fruit or a vegetable, but if those fruit and vegetable can be infused with a non-material aspect into it, then can you raise the price of it? Right? When you infuse a non-material aspect to any material object, it has a certain fixed material value to it. But if you know how to infuse a non-material dimension to any object, in other words, you non-materialize, then you can elevate the value of that object to an unlimited level. Right? Can you grasp it to here? You can get it, right? If you can get it, then congratulations. And it's pretty simple to grasp. But when it comes to human life and experience, we have not paid attention. Whereas the the marketing world is very good at being able to non-materialize a material object, and they can sell it to a great price. What have we done in terms of our human life and our human being? Have we known how to materialize and non-materialize ourselves? If we think about our children, for example, we may have raised our children for many years to give them a good health, or give them some competency. Some of us may tell our children, maintain your good health, learn some skill so that you would have a good life later on, right? Do we usually use the physicality and competency to trade for money? Do we not take our health and our competency and trade it for our money? Or when a husband and a wife, we get married, do we not value ourselves based on our health and our competency that will determine who we get married to? Do we associate our worth based on our physicality and our competency? So if you take only our competency and our physicality in order to determine the value of a human being, then in general, they have just neglected the non-material aspect of a human being. That is the wisdom, the mentality, the character, and the virtue. If you only base the value or the worth of a human being on the physicality and the competency, so we may raise our children many years so that other people will use their skill, the competency, or the physicality, the health, so that they will get paid in X amount of money. Don't you think that that's kind of sad? All of our effort in raising our children so that they will get a job and they will get paid only based on their competency and their physicality. All the time that we have been feeding our children, giving them an education so that they get a job, and the job only pay them based on their skills, the competency, and the physicality, the ability to do the work. And how will you feel about that? And as for ourselves, do we have the awareness that my health and my competency is so and so I get to experience life in such a way, and so getting married to a man or a husband, it's only good enough to marry a certain people. And so in general, we have forgotten that the true worth of a human being is not just the material aspect. There is the non-material aspect that can elevate the worth of a human being. When we can understand that the value of wisdom, mentality, character, and virtue are something that will elevate our worth as a human being. Okay, can you get that? It is the non-material aspect of a human being that can elevate our worth as a person to unlimited levels. Okay, pay attention to this non-material aspect. This is really special. As a parent, for example, okay, our master is a parent of 5 children, and so in terms of awareness, we just help our children to be healthy. We send them to good schools so that they can acquire some competency. We expect and desire that our children will express their competency, their good health, so that they can make money and survive and have a life that is, good. But if we only focus on the material aspect to judge the worth of a human being, it can be measured, and so our children is measured only based on their competency. And if a person's use only their competency and their physical health to evaluate themselves, how we can interact with other people, then we limit our own worth. But if we can change our awareness to encompass the non-material aspect of a human being, not only our competency and physicality, but our wisdom, our mentality, and our character and our virtue, okay, those non-material aspects elevate ourselves as a person. If a woman who understands how to non-materialize herself, if a woman, for example, know how to enrich her wisdom and mentality and character and virtue with the competency and physical health, then we can uh, evaluate ourselves worthy of having a marriage life that is wonderful. For example, do you get that? If we have the non-material aspect of ourselves being enriched, then we can see that we are somebody who is worth loving. We can see that ourselves is somebody who is worth being with. Okay, do you get that? If we can do that, if we can non-materialize ourselves, okay, then immediately then we have elevated our worth as a human being in the eyes of other people. Okay, and since then our master, when they got this, they have created the pathway to help himself and other people non-materialize themselves for many years. That's what we're doing. This is a pathway to non-materialize ourselves. Okay, and so we are grateful to the teachers and the wise people who have given us this knowledge, and the way that this program has been set up. It is set up for us in the next 21 session. We are going to non-materialize ourselves. Okay. In the next 21 session, we're going to focus on mostly the wisdom and the mentality. Mostly on the wisdom and the mentality. Okay? If time permits, we will go into the character and virtue. Those of you who are mentors, you notice that when you get to the mentor level, you focus more on the character, right? We talk about a lot about character today, right? Those of you who are in the mentor class, right? So with the community class, the inner being class, we're gonna focus mostly on the wisdom and mentality. Okay, and beside from that, there will be smaller courses to help to raise our awareness about character and virtue. There will be classes on understanding about humanity. There will be classes on understanding finances, investment, and business. Okay, but in the next 21 day, we're going to focus on the light of wisdom and the light of mentality. Okay, it will help us enrich ourselves as a human being. This is a special pathway starting with the K36. Okay, okay. So what you do, you kind of. So once again, this picture materializing the non-material and non-materializing the material. Okay, your job is to non-materialize the material aspect of yourself. As for materializing the non-material, that's our job. That's the job of the teachers and the mentors. For example, happiness is a non-material aspect of human life, right? Happiness. How do we materialize happiness? Well, that's what we will do for you. Okay? If we say happiness, when we think about, mostly when we talk about happiness, we think of it as something intangible, something non-material, right? If it is non-material, how are we supposed to give it to other people? Because it is non-material, how do we give it to somebody? Well, in this journey, the pathway, we are going to discover how to materialize the non-material aspect of human life. Take for example, anybody in the medical field, for example, in the Eastern medical field, an Eastern doctor has the ability that just by feeling a person's pulse, they can know and they feel what kind of disease the other person has, the patient has. Right? There's an Eastern doctor, just by feeling your pulse, can tell, or by looking at a person's face, they can tell what the disease that they have, their health. And so a person, we may not be aware of something, and so they are non-material to us. But according to an Eastern doctor, they can know what health condition that we have because they have a conception of it. And so to them, it is material, whereas to us, it is non-material. So in a person's health problem can be non-material for a normal person, but they are material in the awareness of the doctor. Do you get it? So something can be invisible to us, but it could be visible in the awareness of a doctor. Right? Our health condition, we don't know anything about health. We don't know anything about diseases. So it is invisible to us. But a Eastern doctor, they just look at our face or they just feel our pulse and they know right away, through experience and training, they know very real the kind of health condition that we have. And so in the awareness of the doctor, it is material. And so in this life we are experiencing, there are many things. For example, opportunity for business investment. Opportunity for business investment. For many people, it could be invisible. But it is very visible and very real in the eyes of a experienced investor, right? They see everywhere there is an opportunity to make money. It is non-material in the eyes of the people who don't understand business and investment, but it is material in the eyes of the experienced investor. And so, historically, we only judge that which is material as something that we can touch and feel. But there are things that we don't feel it materially, but we can become aware of it. So to become aware of something can also make something material. From love to happiness to tolerance and inner peace to honoring gratitude, those are all non-material aspects of life. But if we come to an awareness of it, then it can be materialized. And if we can materialize it, then we can give it to another person. They can possess it. If we can materialize the non-material aspects of life, wisdom, mentality, character, virtue, those are non-material. But if you can materialize it, we make it known to us from a conceptual level, from a visualization level, from an energetic level. Then we materialize it, and then we can possess it. To material is to have, to possess. And so this journey is like a great surgery. We're going to cut open the inner being of a human being. We're going to discover wisdom and mentality, character and virtue. And so we will come to an awareness about wisdom. We will come to an awareness about mentality. We will come to an awareness about character and virtue. And so when we can bring it into our awareness, then we have essentially materialized those non-material aspects. It becomes visible in our awareness. Okay? We will have succeeded when you can, as an awareness, have a full and complete understanding of the non-material aspects of our life, such as wisdom and mentality. Do you guys get that? Okay? If you can materialize it, that means you can become aware of it, that you can give to other people. Because how do you give wisdom to people? How do you give mentality to other people? How do you give happiness and love to other people? You give it by materializing. To materialize it by making it real in our awareness, inner awareness. Okay? So, if any of you have any problems of life, from your marriage life to your health to your finance or any other areas of life, then if you ask, then we cannot help you solve the problems of your life. We can only help you to bring in light into the areas of your life. We can only show you which light will bring in that will be able to dispel the darkness. If I will show you that if you have resentment and blame, then we will show you that the light of honoring gratitude. We cannot help you how to stop from resenting your family member, but we know how to bring light in terms of honoring gratitude so that the darkness of resentment will go away. Okay? We cannot solve your suffering and pain, but we can show you how to bring the light of inner peace. If you have the light of inner peace, then the darkness of suffering and pain will go away. If anybody asks, how do I become more confident because if I feel inferior? I'm sorry, I cannot help you get rid of your inferiority. I cannot help you get rid of your arrogance either, but I can bring in the light of confidence and the light of humbleness. Okay? We cannot help you get rid of your pain and your suffering, but we can only show you how to light up the light of inner peace. And when the light of inner peace is lit up in the house, then the darkness will go away. And fortunate for us, we have the formula to do that. This pathway, this process is a process of materializing the non-materializing the material, as well as to bring the light into a house. Okay, we will apply the principle of light into every aspect of our life, in every step of the way. So this picture, once again, for the rest of your life, just take a look at this picture. If there is no other way to concretely orient our life, then at least let the 7 holistic wealth be the foundation of your life. If you don't have an orientation for your children or how they grow up and what they want to do just yet, then at least orient them toward enriching their life in the 7 holistic wealth. Okay? Okay. With finances, there will be a discussion of okay. Let's see what the tech teacher is saying. Okay, so that's all in terms of the theoretical aspect and the knowledge that teacher Tuan has shared in K36. The rest is interacting with other participants. So we want to take the next 15 minutes to give you guys a chance to ask questions, to share your... wait a minute, hang on. Okay, there is an important principle. Sorry, there's an important principle. Okay. Okay, so we are talking about principles in natural law, and so we need to share about this important one. So, in terms of human life and experience, if we want our life to truly transform, then we need to apply the following principle. Okay, principle of brain activation. Activation. If we don't apply this principle of brain activation, our life will take a long time to transform. Okay, you want to write 3 words. Lesson, impression, and realization. Okay, so these are 3 concepts. If anybody who understands this principle, then these 3 concepts they will keep with them for the rest of their lives. The first concept is the lesson. Okay, with respect to the principle of brain activation, lessons are anything that we have studied and find to be new, anything new. We have not heard about it, we didn't know about it, so anything that is new, okay, to us is considered a lesson. Impression is anything that we can apply, applicable in life. Ooh, I'm really impressed by something. Okay, my impression is something that I can apply to life. Realization is an answer that has come about as a consequence of having asked question about life. Okay, lesson, impression, realization. This answer part is important. If you don't have an inquiry, you're not gonna get any answer. If you don't ask question of life, you're not gonna get any realization. And so it is the answer that will give us the transformation. Okay? So in life, we can divide into the problems and then their lesson. If we experience problems in life, adversities, if we don't learn a lesson from that adversity, if we didn't find anything impressionable, if we don't know how to apply, and if we didn't realize anything, we don't have any answer, then do you think that the problem or the adversity will repeat itself? Okay, let me repeat that. Let me ask you this again. Okay, you can help me interact if you need to. If we experience some problems or adversity in life, and we experience some pain and suffering in life, some problems, and if they didn't find a lesson, anything new to learn, they didn't find anything impressionable that they can apply to life, and if they didn't realize anything, didn't find any answer after that problem or adversity, then do you think there's a chance that that problem or adversity will repeat in life? According to you, do you think if we didn't realize anything, if you didn't find any applicable, if you didn't find any new lesson, then the problem is still gonna continue to repeat itself? Oh, and so, then why the problem comes to us? Why do problems come into our life? When we interact with the wise ones, they explain to us very simple. They orient us toward the principle of light. So they say that problems. Okay, here's an important. The essence of problem. The essence that the problem that happens in our life is that in order for us to have the lesson, the impression, and the realization, so that we can mature and grow. In its basic essence, problems happen in life only so that we could have a lesson, an impression, and realization, so that we can mature and grow. That is that is a positive way of looking at it. All adversity come into our life only so that we have a lesson, only so that we find something applicable, something that we have an answer to help us mature. That's it. Problems of life are not problems. They are all lessons. They are all opportunity to learn and grow. But if we don't learn anything, then the problem will keep on going. If we experience a problem and it's so detrimental that it destroys our life and we learn nothing, and how are we going to be able to grow and here's the thing, some people are attached to the problems. Okay, they pride themselves on being able to overcome challenges in life, and that's fine, because problem brings lessons and impression and realization. But some people are so attached to the ability to overcome challenges that they identify with it, they stuck with it. But the thing is, how long is a human life? We live at most 80, 90, maybe 100 years. And if we are constantly encountering problems in life, then what time are there left for us to create any value? What other time is it left for us to enjoy life? Okay? And so the wise ones say that here's an important point. The wise ones say that it is not only through the problems that we learn lesson. Problems are lesson. Yes, thank you, Anbin, for saying that. Problems are a lesson, especially if we are wise enough to learn something from it. But here's a trick, okay? This is what the wise ones say. Problems are not the only lessons. Challenges and adversities are not the only way for us to learn. They are not the only requirement for growth and maturity. Okay? If through studying you learn a lesson, if through studying you have a lesson, if through studying and you find an impression and a realization, then you still get the benefit of the growth and maturity without having to suffer the pain and the suffering. It is through the studying and the acquisition of knowledge that you will gain a lesson, that you will find something impressionable and applicable. Through the studying and the acquiring of knowledge, that you will have answered to your question without having to pay the price of pain and suffering. We still grow and mature, but instead of growing and maturing through pain and suffering, we grow and mature through studying and acquiring knowledge. Did you get that? That's an important part about learning. Instead of letting the shell of the egg be broken from the outside in, instead of letting pain and experience be our teacher, why not initiate transformation from within? Why not seek the lesson, seek the impression and the realization through studying and acquiring knowledge? You will still grow, you will still mature, but not have to pay the price of pain and suffering. That's an important point that you guys need to consider. Do you get that? Okay? Even though problems are lessons don't only come from problems. If a person have a lesson through studying, if we kind of find an impression through studying and realize, then we don't have to pay the price with undesirable challenges in life. So instead of looking for problems, then look for the lesson. Instead of expecting the problem to teach us, then just look for the knowledge. Look for the new lesson. In other words, we don't need to suffer pain in order to mature. But you need the lesson. It is the lesson that brings the maturity and the transformation, not the pain and suffering. Did you get that point? It is the lesson that brings maturity and growth and transformation, not the pain and the suffering. And so, if anybody who has experienced life each day, in general in life, through your interaction with people and through your interaction with people, and you have a lesson, and you find something impression, and you find a lot of realization, then what's going to happen? when you're constantly learning lessons, finding new impression, and realizing things, then over time the darkness of pain and suffering would go away. If challenges come, okay, then we learn a lesson from it. If pain and suffering come, fine, we learn a lesson from it. But if we spend the time acquiring lessons, acquiring the impression and realization, then by the principle of light, when we bring a lot of light into the room, there's no room for darkness. Through your normal interaction with people, if we can draw a lesson from the typical interaction with people, it's not not a problem. There's no pain and suffering from the regular interaction with people. But if the regular normal interaction with people, and we draw a lesson, then we've just learned something new. We've just brought light into our room. If through the normal daily work and chores and tasks we find something impressionable, we get the answer to our long-sought inquiry, then we will mature and grow without having to wait for pain and suffering. Right? In fact, if we learn the lesson before the problems come in, then the problem won't be much of a problem. For example, okay, let's say we're walking on a bridge, a narrow bridge, and underneath is a river with turbulence under the river. And as we're walking on a bridge, and a gush of wind blows us off of the bridge, we fall into the water. And at that point, if we did not learn how to swim, then the problem of falling into the water would be a big problem, right? But if we had proactively learned how to swim first, not so that we can survive the drowning, but we just have acquired a skill, a life skill, a skill of swimming, for example, then falling into the water would be not much of a problem. We'll just get wet, that's fine. Instead of waiting to fall in the water before learning to swim, why not, out of love for ourselves, learn to swim? And then falling in the water will not be that big of a problem. Do you guys get that? That is a principle of life. Okay, instead of waiting to fall into the water, pain and suffering, and nearly drowning before you struggle and get out of it, you just take the initiative to study, to acquire a lesson about swimming, about living life, and so that when problem does come, then we can rise above it in a simple way and not be drowned by it. Okay, that's an important point. Instead of waiting for pain and suffering to be our teacher, you can prepare yourself by acquiring lessons and realization that help us rise above life's problem. Okay? The same problem that could happen to other people, that could be a big deal, a big problem, is no longer a problem with us because we have already equipped ourselves with enough lessons and impression and realization. If anybody can enrich our mentality, if they have the energy of serenity and inner peace, then those will be the tools that we have. Right? They may have, they may experience anger, they may experience resentment and blame. But if you already equip yourself with the tools of inner peace, then you think you can overcome resentment and suffering more simply. If we equip ourselves with the lesson of honoring gratitude, then you can drive away blame very simply. If we can equip ourselves with the lesson of tolerance, then when problems that we interact with people come in, when people are, when we see fault in others, can we rise above that more simply? Okay? And so, when we take a look at human life and experience, there is the inner being that needs to be addressed. There is the health dimension, there's the relationship, there's the finances. Here we're going to begin by bringing light into our inner being. We're going to talk about physical health and mental health. We're going to talk about relationship, and then we talk about finances. And it is through the process of lesson, impression, and realization that we will initiate a transformation from within. Okay? Because if a person go out through the day and they learn nothing new, they find nothing impressionable, and they didn't realize anything, then that day experiences no transformation. And if you're not experiencing any transformation, then you're not going to change, you're not going to grow, you're not going to mature. And then when the problems of life comes in, we're going to have to deal with it in a much more difficult way. But if we equip ourselves with lessons, impression, and realization, if we enrich our wisdom, enrich our mentality, then when problem comes in, we will rise above it much more simply. Okay, and that's all I have for today. Um, okay, um, shall we do some sharing? And okay, what are your impressions? Those of you who are paying attention, I want to appreciate you guys for sticking with it. Let's get some lesson, impression, and realization. This is your turn to talk. Go ahead and unmute if you want to say something.
Thanks, Frank. We'll try to not go through so much pain and enjoy learning.
Okay. Alrighty. Thank you so much, Andrew, for that. Yeah, enjoy learning, okay? Okay. Hằng, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, Thầy Frank. I love your lesson as always. I would like to share what it touched me at the beginning of the lesson when you talk about transformation. It's very touched me. Like me, almost of the lesson, I just observing, I listening, and I just silent. So I feel that I am like I am in stay in comfort zone so long time. I don't want to break my how do you say boundary?
Boundaries, your barriers.
Boundary.
Break out of your barriers, your boundaries, your shells.
Yes. So when you talk about that, and I feel that I need to speak. I need to get out of what I am. So don't stay, don't keep silent. So when we talk and we whatever we talk, we can it stay for us, and we gain and we gain each new lesson, and it sometimes we understand, but when we did not talk, it's not stay long. So when we talk, it's when it become 2 hours. So that is what I learned from today, and I also love your sharing. It's very easy to understand about the house of inner being with of 4 points like health and finance and relationship. It is also it's so true. It connects to each other. We cannot lack of one of 4 things here. So it's very important to our life when we have a full of those. So when we understand that is what is important to our life, we will take care of that. Yeah. I would like to say again about the first one, transformation. When we want to sometimes when we understand that, when we learn and when we do anything, it's come from our love, and the love for ourselves and for family and for social and for the country. So we feel that we need to do, and we brave, and then we just stand out, and we learn, and we do, and we action. That is what what it taught me for the lesson today. Yeah, I would like to close my hand and spend another opportunity for other people. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, thank you, Jihan. Alrighty, anybody else would like to say something before we close today?
I just wanted to say what Hang said there about how she's breaking out of her eggshell to share, and I really like that. I've had to do the same thing, and the more you share, the more you can break out of that shell and be able to share, and you gain more, or I gain more that way myself. By sharing more, I can give myself more confidence in doing that. And before I couldn't do that. I wasn't able to, I'm still practicing the writing for sharing, and the more I can do that too, we will all get better. The more we share, the more we get better. It gives us a stronger learning capacity, and more you retain more as well. Thank you.
Alrighty. Excellent, excellent. Alrighty. I want to appreciate everybody in the Zoom. Okay. Chị Sương, cô An Trang, anh Bình Nguyễn, cô Hoài My, Sen, welcome Sen, hello. Chị Rachel Xuân Ý. Yeah. So you honor me, okay, with your participation and your presence. Next week we'll go to day 2 of the K36, and we'll see what Masterthon has to say. So I did my best to translate as closely as I can as every statement that Thầy Toàn says. So those of you who are mentoring, who are studying to be a mentor, you can use this recording. I will upload it in my YouTube channel. You can use this recording to imprint, okay, and then so that you can share it back in the English language. And that's it. You guys have a great day and a great night.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm very happy to see a lot of my house in your Zoom, Frank, and hopefully we can get more.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Frank.
Frank.
Thank you.
All right.
Good
You take
night.
care.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much,
Everyone.
thầy Frank. Thank you so much, John, for let us know thầy Frank Zoom. We are
Okay.
very happy.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye bye.
Good question.
Recording stopped.